Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Thanks God. We are praying to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that today we are in the good condition, good in health, and also can meet in the subject of interdisciplinary approach in historical studies. Starting our lecture today, let's reciting together Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Well, today we are going to listen the student presentation based on their topic ourselves. There are three students who will present the PowerPointers. Firstly, Naufal Muzaffar, and then Alika Pekirana, and lastly, Wanda Oksa Perdia. I think I would like to give opportunity for each student to present the PowerPointers in 5 minutes. Please, Naufal and Muzaffar.
Baik, Pak. Ini sudah ada. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Novel Agian Zafar dengan 1901. Kali ini kan presentasikan mengenai hasil analisis saya dengan judul pengaruh kebijakan pemerintahan Gubernur Sutioso di Jakarta tahun 1997 sampai 2007 dalam perspektif sosial politik. Nah, Sutioso atau biasa dikenal sebagai Bung Yos ini merupakan mantan Gubernur Jakarta yang menjabat 2 periode dari tahun 1997 sampai 2007 dan menjadi Gubernur Jakarta terakhir yang merasakan pemerintahan masa Orde Baru dan juga Gubernur Jakarta terakhir yang merasakan dipilihnya oleh DPRD Kota Jakarta. Bung Yos ini merupakan seseorang yang memiliki latar belakang militer dengan pangkat terakhirnya yaitu Letnan Jenderal. Dan dengan latar belakang militer inilah yang menyebabkan kepemimpinannya itu bisa dikatakan tegas dan ambisius dan bahkan sering diserupai dengan kepemimpinan Gubernur Ali Sadikin. Walaupun demikian, kebijakan-kebijakan yang dikeluarkan oleh Bung Yos ini merupakan dampak dari terjadinya perubahan sosial yang ada di Indonesia, bahkan di Jakarta, yang disebabkan oleh terjadinya krisis moneter tahun 1998. Salah satu kebijakan yang membawa perubahan di masyarakat Jakarta ini adalah adanya perkembangan pola transportasi massal atau disingkat dengan PTM. PTM ini dilakukan untuk mengatasi kemacetan yang ada di Jakarta dan dengan membuat transportasi massal seperti Transjakarta, MRT, dan Waterways atau angkutan sungai. Namun kebijakan ini ditentang oleh beberapa pihak karena salah satunya adalah LSM Lingkungan Hidup yang mengatakan bahwa pembangunan dari Transjakarta ini merusak tanaman yang ada di tengah jalan protokol Jakarta. Walaupun demikian, kebijakan ini disukai oleh masyarakat yang menggunakan angkutan umum karena dengan adanya kebijakan ini membuat penghematan biaya yang dikeluarkan oleh mereka. Walaupun demikian, kebijakan yang saat ini hanya berjalan itu kebijakan Transjakarta. Sedangkan MRT dihentikan di akhir masa pemerintahannya dan sempat dilanjutkan di pemerintahan Gubernur Jokowi. Sedangkan Waterways ini dihentikan karena kurangnya persiapan dalam melaksanakan proyek angkutan sungai ini. Dan dengan sikap kepemimpinan yang tegas ini, seringkali kebijakan Bung Yos ini mendapat penentangan dari masyarakat seperti revitalisasi Monas, yang mendapat pertentangan dari TNI dan juga pedagang kaki lima. Dan walaupun mendapat penentangan ini, Bung Yos ini tetap melanjutkan kebijakan pemerintahannya. Di masa pemerintahannya juga dia sempat mendapat perlawanan, mendapat tentangan dari aliansi angkutan pengemudi beca karena pelarangan pengoperasian beca yang ada di Jakarta. Walaupun demikian, dengan sikap yang tegas ini dia tetap tetap mendapat amanah dalam melanjutkan pemerintahannya di Jakarta. Karena di beberapa kebijakannya ini membawa perubahan bagi masyarakat yang ada. Dan juga Bung Yos ini kembali menunjukkan legitimasinya dengan melakukan operasi justisi, yaitu operasi kepada masyarakat non Jakarta yang datang ke Jakarta untuk mencari kebutuhan. Operasi justisi ini merupakan operasi yang dilakukan untuk menseleksi terhadap masyarakat yang ingin menetap di Jakarta, dan apabila masyarakat yang tidak memiliki pekerjaan maupun rumah, maka akan dia dipulangkan kampung halamannya. Di akhir masa periode pemerintahnya ini, Bung Yos tetap memiliki impian untuk membuka angkutan umum supaya Jakarta tidak mengalami kendala kemacetan. Walaupun demikian, kebijakan-kebijakannya tetap mendapat pertentangan dari beberapa masyarakat, dan masalah-masalah Jakarta yang utama seperti banjir, kepadatan penduduk, dan juga sebagainya itu tetap tidak diselesaikan oleh Sutioso. Ya, mungkin sekian Pak presentasi dari saya. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you, Naufal Muzaffar. The next presenter is Alika P. Kirana. Alika, similar, your time is 5 minutes, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Alika Putri Kirana dengan NIM 1904215. Pada pertemuan kali ini akan menjelaskan mengenai perkembangan Komisi Nasional Anti Kekerasan Terhadap Perempuan dalam memberikan perlindungan di Indonesia lewat perspektif sosial dan politik tahun 1998 hingga tahun 2001. Seperti yang kita ketahui bahwa krisis moneter yang pernah terjadi di Indonesia menyebabkan terjadinya kasus kerusuhan dan kekerasan di beberapa kota-kota besar di Indonesia. Yang menjadi fokus pada pertemuan kali ini yaitu adalah kekerasan yang dialami oleh perempuan etnis Tionghoa, di mana hal ini yang pada akhirnya menyebabkan masyarakat dari berbagai lapisan yang tergabung dalam masyarakat anti kekerasan terhadap perempuan itu membuat sebuah petisi yang berhasil ditandatangani sebanyak 14.000 tanda tangan. Nah, petisi ini pula lah yang pada akhirnya membawa beberapa perwakilan dari masyarakat anti kekerasan terhadap perempuan yang pada saat itu diketuai oleh Ibu Safarina Sadli bertemu dengan Presiden B.J. Habibie. Ada 3 tuntutan yang dibawa oleh masyarakat anti kekerasan terhadap perempuan pada saat itu. Yang pertama yaitu adalah investigasi kerusuhan Mei 1998, termasuk kasus-kasus kekerasan terhadap perempuan, adili dan berikan sanksi tegas terhadap pelaku dan pihak yang bertanggung jawab terhadap tindak kekerasan terhadap perempuan, hingga adanya pernyataan publik langsung dari Presiden B.J. Habibie yang mengutuk segala tindak kekerasan terhadap perempuan yang terjadi. Nah, pertemuan itu pula menghasilkan terbentuknya Komisi Nasional Anti Kekerasan Terhadap Perempuan atau yang bisa kita singkat sebagai Komnas Perempuan. Di 3 tahun pertamanya, Komnas Perempuan memiliki beberapa program kerja. Yang pertama yaitu adalah advokasi kebijakan pemerintah. Yang kedua adalah pembentukan divisi reformasi hukum dan kebijakan, lalu juga pembentukan divisi dokumentasi dan pendidikan, dan pembentukan divisi penguatan kapasitas pelayanan bagi korban. Nah, yang pertama itu adalah advokasi kebijakan pemerintah, di mana fokus dari hal ini, program ini itu adalah pertama untuk menuntut pertanggungjawaban pemerintah untuk penanggulangan kekerasan terhadap perempuan, di mana hal ini itu diminta langsung oleh organisasi-organisasi pendamping korban agar proses peradilan dapat berjalan dengan optimal. Lalu juga fokus dari program ini yaitu adalah memberikan perlindungan yang lebih terhadap perempuan dalam situasi konflik bersenjata, lalu juga memberikan perlindungan dan dukungan bagi saksi dan korban, interseksionaliti gender dan rasisme, hingga kemitraan dengan lembaga pemerintah. Lalu pembentukan divisi reformasi hukum dan kebijakan, di mana divisi ini memiliki 3 program utama. Yang pertama itu adalah pembentukan reformasi hukum dan kebijakan yang reformasi perangkat hukum dan perundang-undangan, lalu juga penguatan penegakan hukum hingga advokasi persoalan kebijakan terhadap kekerasan yang berbasis gender. Lalu juga divisi dokumentasi dan pendidikan yang berfungsi untuk meningkatkan pemahaman publik tentang kekerasan terhadap perempuan yang dialami perempuan-perempuan Indonesia. Dari divisi dokumentasi sendiri itu berfungsi untuk pemetaan kekerasan, lalu juga berfungsi sebagai dokumentasi tentang keterkaitan antara kemiskinan, konflik, dan kekerasan terhadap perempuan. Lalu divisi pendidikan itu berfokus pada pelatihan tentang HAM yang berperspektif gender, kampanye publik, hingga publikasi. Lalu pembentukan divisi penguatan kapasitas layanan bagi korban itu berfungsi untuk menjalankan peran Komnas Perempuan dalam meningkatkan upaya penanggulangan segala bentuk kekerasan terhadap perempuan. Nah, selama proses berdirinya Komnas Perempuan ini di 3 tahun pertamanya berupaya untuk memaksimalkan fungsi mereka dalam memberikan impact di dalam segi pemerintahan maupun masyarakat di tingkat nasional ataupun lokal gitu. Dampak dari berdirinya yaitu adalah adanya penguatan dan perluasan gerakan anti kekerasan terhadap perempuan, lalu adanya perangkat kerja yang dikembangkan secara khusus untuk merespon persoalan-persoalan kekerasan terhadap perempuan, hingga adanya jaringan-jaringan kerja yang luas dan majemuk sebagai kekuatan baru untuk mendapatkan terobosan-terobosan strategis dalam upaya penghapusan kekerasan. Nah, di 3 tahun pertamanya, Komnas Perempuan untuk pertama kalinya melakukan evaluasi terhadap kinerja mereka di tahun 2001 yang dilakukan oleh 3 perempuan aktivis perempuan Asia dari 3 negara yang berbeda, yaitu ada Sunila Abeskara dari Sri Lanka, lalu juga ada Susana George dari Malaysia, dan Desti Murdijana dari Indonesia Timur. Sekian dari saya. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Okay, thank you very much, Alika Kirana. The last presenter is Wanda Oksaprilia. Wanda, Bismillah, your time is 4 minutes.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jadi di sini saya akan mempresentasikan PPT saya dengan judul Kerusuhan Antar Etnik di Sampit tahun 2001 dari perspektif sosiologi dan ekonomi. Nah, jadi peristiwa Sampit merupakan konflik antar etnik, yaitu etnik lokal Dayak dengan etnik pendatang Madura yang berakhir dengan kerusuhan. Kejadian ini bermula di kota Sampit, Kalimantan Tengah pada bulan Februari 2001 dan terus berlangsung sampai tahun itu berakhir. Menurut penelitian yang dilakukan oleh Paji tahun 2013, bahwa kerusuhan Sampit ini merupakan rentetan panjang konflik antara kedua etnik tersebut di wilayah Kalimantan Tengah yang meledak lagi di tahun 2001. Dari beberapa sumber, rangkuman latar belakang dari kerusuhan ini yaitu benturan budaya etnik Madura dianggap tidak mau mengerti dan tidak mempraktekkan budaya etnik Dayak, di mana langit dijunjung, di situ bumi dipijak, yang artinya tidak menghargai kebudayaan dan adat istiadat masyarakat lokal. Nah, akibat dari kerusuhan Sampit ini, setidaknya ratusan nyawa manusia melayang dan juga terjadi pengungsian secara besar-besaran. Disebutkan juga penyelesaian kerusuhan Sampit terjadi berkat tindakan pemerintah dengan mengevakuasi warga, meningkatkan keamanan, dan mengadakan rehabilitasi mental, khususnya bagi orang-orang Madura yang kerabatnya menjadi korban pemenggalan orang Dayak. Dari perspektif sosiologi sendiri, rentetan peristiwa hingga berujung kerusuhan ini bisa dikatakan termasuk ke dalam dampak negatif dari adanya mobilitas sosial. Dalam Ulansari tahun 2009, mobilitas sosial merujuk pada perubahan kedudukan anggota masyarakat atau keadaan yang kemungkinan individu bergerak dari kedudukan atau lapisannya. Dan salah satu macam mobilitas sosial yaitu mobilitas sosial geografis yang merupakan perpindahan suatu kelompok ke daerah lain atau biasa disebut migrasi. Dalam Fawaidi dan kawan-kawan tahun 2001, dijelaskan bahwa migrasi orang Madura ke Kalimantan, khususnya Kalimantan Tengah hingga pada tahun 2000 telah membentuk 21% populasi Kalimantan Tengah. Nah, ada kalanya mobilitas sosial suatu etnik ke daerah etnik lain tidak berjalan mulus karena kurangnya interaksi dan tidak berjalannya akulturasi di antara kedua etnik tersebut, hingga menimbulkan suatu konflik. Nah, dalam Alexandra tahun 2018 dijelaskan bahwa konflik adalah suatu hubungan antara dua pihak atau lebih yang merasa memiliki sasaran yang tidak sejalan. Hal tersebutlah yang terjadi antara kedua etnik tersebut. Menurut etnik Dayak, etnik Madura tidak sejalan dengan mereka dan sehingga mereka dianggap sebagai orang asing. Karena etnik Madura juga selalu mengasingkan dirinya dan memilih untuk hidup sesama etniknya saja. Selain itu, terdapat faktor yang mengakibatkan terjadinya konflik antar etnik, yaitu sikap stereotip. Stereotip atau kecenderungan membenci orang dari latar belakang etnik yang berbeda merupakan sesuatu yang sulit berubah dan tidak dapat dihindari tiap individu. Selanjutnya, jika dilihat dari perspektif ekonomi, yang dimana faktor ekonomi sangat berperan dalam mempengaruhi suatu mobilitas sosial, yaitu migrasi. Dari konsep mobilitas sosial dikatakan bahwa perdagangan pada zaman dahulu juga menghubungkan penduduk dari berbagai pulau sehingga terjadinya pertemuan antar etnik. Nah, sejak masa prakolonial juga, kota Sampit itu udah menjadi pusat perdagangan. Kondisi tersebut menjadikan Sampit sudah didatangi para pedagang yang sebagian tinggal menetap dan memiliki keturunan dengan penduduk lokal, dengan termasuk masyarakat Madura. Nah, etnik Madura ini memiliki solidaritas dan keberanian untuk bertahan hidup, menganggap bahwa lahan hidup itu tidak terbatas pada Pulau Madura saja, akan tetapi daerah-daerah lain pantas dijadikan sumber penghidupan. Sehingga dalam bidang ekonomi, etnik Madura di Kalimantan Tengah ini lebih kuat dan mendominasi ketimbang etnik lokal. Sedangkan etnik Dayak yang selalu berpegang teguh pada adat istiadatnya, selalu menganggap alam merupakan tempat hidup mereka dan roh-roh yang harus dijaga kelestariannya. Jika ada pihak lain yang melanggar, maka mereka tidak segan untuk memenggal kepala pihak yang melanggar sebagai bentuk membela roh leluhurnya. Nah, dengan menguasai bidang ekonomi, etnik Madura ini berpendapat bahwa masyarakatnya memberi sumbangan besar pada perkembangan ekonomi di Sampit. Namun menurut etnik Dayak, mereka telah menunjukkan sikap berkuasa dengan menguasai perekonomian, yang dimana mereka juga mengambilnya secara berlebihan dari alam Kalimantan. Nah, seperti pendapat dari Karl Marx, yaitu ia memandang konflik di masyarakat berkaitan dengan adanya kelompok yang berkuasa dan dikuasai. Di sini terlihat etnik Dayak merasa etnik Madura lebih menguasai wilayah mereka sendiri, sehingga dari faktor penguasaan ekonomi tersebut dapat mengakibatkan terjadinya konflik sosial yang berujung kerusuhan. Untuk kesimpulannya, jadi kerusuhan antar etnik di Sampit pada tahun 2001 ini dari perspektif sosiologi bisa termasuk ke dalam suatu mobilitas sosial geografis yang tidak dibarengi dengan interaksi sosial dan akulturasi antar kedua etnik, sehingga menimbulkan konflik sosial yang berujung kerusuhan etnis. Selain itu, dari perspektif ekonomi, muncul ketidaksukaan karena etnik pendatang Madura lebih mendominasi sektor ekonomi di wilayah etnik lokal Dayak. Maka hanya dengan latar pemicu yang sepele saja bisa mengakibatkan kerusuhan antar etnik Dayak Madura di Sampit pada awal 2001. Sekian presentasi dari saya, kurang lebih mohon maaf. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much, Wanda Australia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my student, we have listened about the student presentation. And before I make the brief comment related to the student presentation, please, other student, you start next the brief comment also, and then sending to the WhatsApp group. So I'm not waiting until me finish making the brief comment, okay? In order using the time is effectively. Well, I would like to make the brief comment in general. As I mentioned often and earlier, that it is important to every student to understand the topic or the problem that will be analyzed. Okay, so because of that, you should read many books related to your topic, particularly the standard book. I think it is very important in order your presentation, your analysis, not in general, should be focused, and also should be giving the new perspective. Okay, so I think it is very important because you giving the free for select the topic, including also the problem, so that you can elaborate about your topic based on your knowledge. Okay, so I think based on your presentation, in my opinion, your analysis, your presentation is still in general, not yet giving the something new in a perspective. Maybe it is related with your standard textbook as reference. Okay. Okay. For example, I would like to make the brief comment one by one. Firstly, Naufa Abdillah Muzaffar, okay. Pengaruh kebijakan pemerintahan Gubernur Sutioso di Jakarta tahun 97-2007 dalam perspektif sosial politik. Do you know your topic is not yet finished? Because it is the impact A to B, oke? Okay? Jadi pengaruh kebijakan pemerintah Sutioso terhadap apa? It is not yet finished your topic. Noval, do you understand?
Iya, Pak.
Okay. I think if you talk about the impact, pengaruh, should be pengaruh A terhadap B. This is the pengaruh kebijakan pemerintahan Sutioso terhadap apa? Not yet finished. Okay. So please you ensure that the problem or the topic should be analyzed based on your knowledge and your maybe finding the research. Okay. So the topic should be clear, including also you still general. Okay, for example, what kind of policy, what uniqueness policy from Bang Yos or Sutioso. You just said about the mass transportation, okay, and you just analyze it in general about this figure. Because of that, I think you should identify, for example, what the prominent policy, okay, including also a specific policy in which it is the difference between the Sutioso policy and governor before or after. Okay, so if you just talk about policy of Governor Sutioso in general, I think it is not interesting because it is like the procedural matters and also not too specifically about his policy. Okay, because of that, you should analyze it also about who is Sutioso, his background. You just said that Sutioso is army, military or army. I think it is not enough. Should be analysis what the ethnic, what the religion, what the family, what his education background, and so on and so forth. In order you can understand about the characteristic of his policy, his attitude, political attitude, for example. As you know, for example, in 1996, in the time of New Order, there's the riot of PDIP, okay? And many historians and also political scientists said that Governor Sutioso involved in this, engaged in this PDIP affairs. So because of the, maybe in this context, Sutioso as anti the PDIP in the time of New Order. Okay, so should be analysis about his background, social, education, cultural, ethnic, and so on and so forth. In order we can understand about who is Sutioso. Okay, and yeah, about his impact in a policy. You just said about the mass transportation. However, the problem in Jakarta is still exists, particularly about traffic jam. Okay, traffic jam, flood, banjir. Okay, so if you analyze about the Jakarta problem, it is meaning that the policy of Governor Sutioso is not extraordinary. It is, I think, yeah, similar with other governor, maybe before Pak Sutioso and after Pak Sutioso. Okay, because you specifically what his policy and impact generally in Jakarta. I have listened about the Sutioso policy specifically. What we call as the he tried to transform, for example, from the Kramatunga prostitute area, okay, to be the Islamic boarding school. In Bandung, maybe it is similar with the Saritem. Saritem area become the what is Islamic center. Okay, it is maybe should be analyzed. One of the policy uniqueness from the Governor Sutioso. Do you know Kramatunga? Similar with Saritem in Bandung. Do you know Saritem? Okay, so please searching about this specific policy from Governor Sutioso. And yeah, in order you in analyzing not subjectively, in who is Sutioso and what his policy, what its impact, maybe should be compared. You mentioned about Ali Sadikin, okay? I think it is good idea because the prominent governor of Jakarta seen earlier until currently is Ali Sadikin, Bang Ali, Bang Ali. So maybe you can compare between the popularity, between the policy, between the political attitude and so on and so forth, between Bang Ali and Sutioso. In order you analyze it is objectively, okay, not subjectively. It is, I think, good idea. And finally, I think your analysis in political approach, including also social approach, is not yet deeply, okay. For example, if we want to analyze about the policy of the leaders and also maybe the thinking of the leaders, maybe should be analyzed particularly its impact in the social and political matter. So I think please ensure what kind of social approach and including also political concept related to the Governor Sutioso policy. Okay, maybe it is related to your reference. You mentioned about the egg sources. It is good idea, but I think not yet a standard book. Okay, if you want to understand about the history of Jakarta, history of Governor of Jakarta, you should be referred, for example, the Susana Blackburn. It is Susana Abia Sekara. It is expert in the history of Jakarta since the POC era until currently. Researching in the Google, okay, Susana Blackburn or Susana Abia Sekara, including also Jan Mullen. It is expert in history of Jakarta. Okay. Of course, because you were talking about the Bang Yos, should be read his biography. Not only from the Pemprov DKI Jakarta, maybe it is the what is official institution, okay? Maybe subjectively is dominant. Should be read the biography written by academician, maybe by historian, by political science, okay? Such as Bang Ali. Bang Ali, his biography written by Ramadan Kaha, including also Blackburn, Mullen analysis about the governor of Jakarta, particularly Bang Ali, Ali Sadikin. Okay, so please searching about the biography of Bang Yos in order you can understand what characteristic, what uniqueness, what the prominent policy from the Bang Yos and its impact to Jakarta. Okay, and you mentioned that Bang Yos, what is in power since the last new order, President B.A. Habibie, President Gus Dur, Megawati, and SBY, okay? Because until 2007, SBY starting as 2004. I think because Jakarta is, Bang Yos, Awan Selop said, in Jakarta is remember please, it is according to Bang Yos. Jadi penduduk Jakarta itu dari mulai tukang batu sampai orang nomor satu, dia bilang. Because of that is very important how the relationship between the governor and the president. So you should be read about the biography of President Suharto, B.A. Habibie, Gus Dur, Megawati, SBY, particularly maybe they ask the relationship between the policy of the government central and the policy also governor to implement about the policy of central government. Okay, so should be read, and of course in general history you should use also the reclap books, the SNI or IDAS. Okay, I think it is very important. However, please ensure that your topic not yet finished, okay? Pengaruh A terhadap B. So if you thought it is about the impact of the policy of the Governor Sutioso to whatever, okay? So should be clear, okay? It is Naupal. Secondly, Alika Putri Kirana, you have changed your title, okay, your topic from it is the red sentence and become the black sentence. It is okay, but if I see about your title, it is too long, not interesting, okay? And because you talk about the woman, I think it is good idea if you also analyze it based on the gender perspective, okay? Because in the first subject, you is not only the social but also culture perspective. It is good culture, but in the final title, you just social and political matters. I think if you talk about the woman, I think gender culture is very important to understand about this topic. Okay. Okay, I think your explanation also still general. Okay, not giving something new, particularly the Chinese woman. Okay, so because you are as a candidate of historian or history teacher, if we talk about, for example, about the tragedy of May 1998, please answer about the data. Okay, okay. So how many victims of the Chinese woman in the May 1998 in the collapse in the other government, for example? So not only they are the signed by the 14,000 people. Yeah, not about science. It is about the victim. Okay. How many victims from Chinese woman in the tragedy of May? It should be clear. In order, we can conclude that, okay, the Chinese woman become the victim in the last order and try to make the equal and better in the time of reform era. Okay, so not based on the many sign, many maybe what is propagate from other women. Okay, and maybe about the riot in May 1998, it is not new phenomenon in Indonesian history. Every changing of power in Indonesia, since Indonesian Revolution, from Soekarno to Suharto, from Suharto to B.J. Habibie, there's many riots, and the victim is China. The critical question is why? Should be analyzed. Why China, including also women in Indonesia, became the victim? Okay, so please you should answer this critical question. It's very important. Okay, based on the historical fact or historical perspective. Okay, and you talk about the Komnas HAM or Komnas Perempuan. I think it is the institution. Institution will be moved if there's the person, agent who makes this organization is actively or dynamically. Okay, because of that, you should analyze about the figure of the woman who lead the Komnas Perempuan. Alika, do you understand? You said, for example, Saparina Sadli. Who is Saparina Sadli? I think he is not Chinese. He is Javanese woman. The critical question is why the Komnas Perempuan who want to advocate the Chinese woman, the leaders is Javanese woman. I think you should analyze it and also searching the Chinese woman figure who also popular in the time. You should analyze it, for example, about Yulia Surya Kusuma. It is Chinese woman. It is prominent Chinese woman in advocate the human rights for Chinese woman. Yulia Surya Kusuma. Not analysis the Saparina Sadli. I think it is not clear. Maybe Saparina Sadli is a Javanese woman and he pro to the reform government, particularly the B.J. Habibie administration. Okay, so Julia Surya Kusuma should be analyzed, including also you said there's the three women, prominent figure or woman from Malaysia, from Sri Lanka, should be analysis. Because the figure in history is very important. He can make the institution such as Komnas HAM, such as other institutions, will dynamically because what is triggered by the figure. Okay, you understand, Alika? I think, for example, if you want talk about the history of UPI as into system, I think you should analyze about the rector of UPI. Okay, including also you want to understand about the dynamic of history education department. You should analyze it about the head of department. Okay, because it is the figure is very important. His role, his thinking, his attitude, his program, and so on and so forth. Okay, not the institution. Komnas Perempuan is institution. Should be analysis the leaders. Okay. And finally, your perspective in social politics and its solution also not yet clear. Okay, I think as I have mentioned, if you want to talk about the Chinese woman or Komnas Perempuan, I think you should be based on the gender perspective, cultural perspective. I think it is very important. Okay. Maybe it is also similar related to the reference. Okay, you mentioned about the 10 sources, good, but it's not yet standard book. Okay, as I have mentioned, you should read or analysis about this Surya Kusuma. He is the prominent figure of Chinese woman. Okay. And also in order you can understand about the history of China in Indonesia, of course, should be read about the Leo Surya Dinata books, okay? Nelly Gaetan's book. I think although you mentioned about the Saparina Sadli, maybe also should be analysis about the biography of the Saparina Sadli. It is very important, okay? And because the May riot 1998 is in Jakarta, and in the time of the Habibie, I think should be read also the biography of Bang Yos as Governor Jakarta and President B.J. Habibie. Okay, and because it is also Jakarta, should be read about the history of Jakarta from Susana Blackburn, Susana Abesker, from Mullen, Eric Clapp, and Ida. Okay. So should be you focus and interesting about your topic. Not analysis about institution, but should be analysis about the figure who lead the institution. Okay. Tokoh yang memimpin lembaga, not institution. What is analysis? Okay, the last is Wanda Oxaprilia. It is also similar. You change your topic from the red sentence to the black sentence. I think in the first topic, it is good because if we talk about the conflict, there's the political perspective is very important. So not only sociology or economy, but political approach, political perspective is very important because the conflict, okay, between one ethnic and others. And because it is also talking about the ethnic, I think not sociology, should be anthropology, culture anthropology. Okay, I think because anthropology is uniqueness in analyzing the ethnic. If sociology is general for a modern society. Okay, so I think your approach should be changed, not only based on the sociology and economy, but also politics is very important, including also anthropology, culture, okay? And I think your topic is too short, just 1 year, okay? uh, Maybe with 1 year, you can your analysis not deeply, okay? So I think should be ensure that you can analysis or explanation this event comprehensively. Okay? Uh, uh, 1 year is no problem, but for example, if you read about the Sartono Kartodirjo's book about the Peasant Report of Banten in 1888, Sartono not only analysis about the critical event in 1888, but also the background. Maybe you can also following the Sartono Kardi approach. For example, why there's the clash, the conflict between the Dayak ethnic and Madura ethnic background, not only in the year 2001, but also maybe before. Okay, in the time of Dutch colonial government, in the time of Indonesian independent, and so on and so forth. In order we can understand why between these two ethnic there's the clash and conflict. Okay. Okay. And in your analysis also, I think the social mobility, geography mobility, and also social interaction and social conflict. I think it is not answer the question because, for example, why there's no interaction intensively between the Dayak ethnic and Madura ethnic. You not only analysis about the social mobility or geographic mobility, maybe the religion, the custom is different. As you know, the majority of Dayak is Christian. Okay. Meanwhile, the majority of Madura is Muslim. Maybe there's no interaction intensively because different in religion. Okay. And different also in custom, in habitually, and so on and so forth. Okay. So please, you don't accuse the Madura is what is not socialized, not have the attitude di mana bumi dipijak, pistu langit dijunjung, maybe different in religion. Okay, so should be analyzed like that. Okay, and including also, yes, you know, these two ethnic is the what we call as the hard ethnic, ethnic yang keras ya, because Dayak has the Mengayo tradition, and Madura also had the Charok tradition. Okay, maybe just Sundanese ethnic is the soft ethnic, ethnic yang lembut ya, sopan santun. Dayak and Madura I think is the what is hard ethnic. So should be analysis about the Mengayo tradition, Charok tradition, because of that when these two ethnic conflict, there's the very hard and very deeply conflict. Okay. Okay, and similar, your explanation about the ethnic of Madura, ethnic of Dayak is too general. Should be analyzed the figure. Who is the prominent figure from Dayak? Who is prominent figure from Madura? In order we can understand the characteristic this figure. If you just talk about the ethnic, it is the general pattern. Okay, we can understand. For example, orang Sunda mah Bager, orang Sunda mah Sieunan. I think it is the general conclusion. But if we talk about the figure, for example, figure Juanda, figure Andi Suwirta, figure, you can understand why in 2001 between the Madura ethnic and Dayak ethnic clash, including also the top figure, who is the prominent figure from Madura ethnic and who also prominent figure from the Dayak ethnic. Okay. Okay, in order you can understand about the Sampit problem, okay, Sampit affair. And in my opinion, I think the economy is not the main problem because, as you know, the profession of Dayak ethnic in economy, I think just tukang sate, not in the big business. Because of that, in my opinion, economy is not become the main problem. The main problem, in my opinion, it is about the religion. It is about the landowner, masalah tanah. Okay, so yeah, as you know, in Madura ethnic perspective, because they are the Muslim, they said tanah ini milik Allah, ya. Jadi nggak boleh dibatasi orang Madura nggak boleh punya tanah. Meanwhile, in Dayak they have the adat law about the tanah. Because of that they have the conflict in perspective, conflict also in meaning of the land owner. Okay, so should be analysis agrarian conflict and also the land conflict between ethnic in Sampit, okay, in Kalimantan. Okay, it is also maybe related to your reference. You mentioned 12 sources, okay, but I think it should be added, should be enrichment, including also you you wrong in citing sources. You said according to Karl Marx. If you didn't read the Karl Marx book, please you you don't say according to Karl Marx, and I see in your reference there's no Karl Marx book. Okay, so should if you don't read the Karl Marx book and you just, for example, read the someone who expert in sociology, for example, according to Suryono Sukanto, according to what else the sociology expert in Indonesia, Tamrin Amal Tomagola, and because you didn't read the Karl Marx, and you also not as a follower of communism, right? So please, if you mention the sources, should be clear that you directly read this book, okay? Not menurut Karl Marx dalam Andi Swirta, I'm not expert in the Karl Marx idea or thinking. Please don't according to Karl Marx according to me. No, should be directly according to Karl Marx ourselves. Okay, you understand? It is not only for Wanda, for other also similar. Okay, you often said menurut Sartono Kartobirjo dalam Andi Swirta, menurut Andi Swirta dalam Wanda Oksaprilia. I think it is bad attitude in citing sources. Okay, not good. Okay, however, because it is a conflict between two ethnic, Dayak and Madura, you should understand about the history or characteristic of Dayak ethnic. I think the Kunto Wijoyo book, his dissertation is about the Madura. Should be read about the Kunto Wijoyo historian, prominent historian from Gajah Mada, because his dissertation about the Madura, including also the Jong. It is the historian from the Dutch, expert about the Madura, and about Dayak. I think please you searching in the Google. I have read a book. The title is Zaman Edan, translated from the English to the Bahasa Indonesia. It is talking about the Dayak ethnic, including also the Mangayo tradition. Okay, so I think should be understand about the history of Dayak ethnic. Okay, including also others book related to the custom, religion, whatever. tradition of the Dayak. Okay, as you know also that Dayak is the diverse in ethnic, in religion, in law, in custom. Okay, in one hand it is the ethnic Dayak who Muslim, but others is the Christian, including also the Kaharingan religion. It is the what is the Dayak religion? Okay, so Dayak is very in and diverse in culture, in religion, and so on and so forth. Because of that, should be understood. For example, Dayak in Sampit. What is majority is Muslim or Christian or Kaharingan religion? Should be understand. In order we can analyze what the main factors this conflict between Madura and Dayak ethnic. Okay. Okay, I think the reclap book in general history should be also read, and IDAS, okay, because IDAS is the history standard book written in the time of reform era. Because of that, maybe there's the topic related to the clash of ethnic, the conflict of ethnic in Indonesia, particularly after the new order government stepped down in 1998. Okay. Okay, I think that's my comment. Hopefully, you can understand what I was talking about. It is my suggestion, my recommendation, particularly in analysis and in understanding your problem, your topic. Okay. Firstly, is historical fact should be understood, and also, of course, reference should be relevant, should be standard in order you can analyze your topic, your problem deeply, not only in general pattern. Okay. And please, you met the poor people, and I would like to see about your poor people, whether you receive my suggestion, recommendation, or not. Okay. Well, I think that's my brief comment, and let's ending our lecture today by reciting together also Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Inshallah, we will meet again in the next week with different topic, different presenter. Also, I would like to use the language in Malay. Okay. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih, Pak.
Okay, welcome. We can learn from